The nation's best-loved chefs are hitting the road to compete in some traditional country shows.
And I'm hoping to win one of those rosettes.
On the way, they'll meet some of Britain's best local food producers.
Why would you ever eat a cupcake when you have parking?
Before competing head-to-head with each other.
It's only a competition!
And the great British public.
I thought the competition was big enough.
Our chefs are at the mercy of the harshest food critics in the land, the beady-eyed country show judges.
We don't like odd ones.
It's a competition and I'm taking it very seriously.
Hold on to your aprons, it's Country Show Cook-Off. This week, Supreme Chefs Theo, Randall and Rachel Allen are travelling far and wide to compete at some of Britain's best country shows.
Another sunny day in Scotland.
They'll be cooking up an assortment of dishes for a range of competitions taking them from northern Scotland to Shropshire. Today, their trip takes them from Aberfeldy to Keith. So far, Rachel's ahead by 3 points to 0 in this 5-day culinary cook-off.
There it is.
Proving she's Queen of Quiche after her victory at the Butte Country Show.
You won first prize!
Whilst Theo had 2 devastating defeats with his quiche Lorraine and chocolate sponge, when both our chefs ignored the strict show schedule, disappointing the judges at the Aberfeldy show.
No, I'm sorry, but that's not even a sponge.
Our chefs had underestimated the importance of following rules.
Not according to schedule. It's not a sponge.
So Theo's entry wasn't even judged.
Just read the schedule.
Judging by this, we got it wrong.
Today our foodie rivals are heading to Keith, a charming town in the Highlands halfway between Inverness and Aberdeen. Nestled in the Isle Valley, the town is divided into Old and New Keith, with the older part dating back to the 12th century. Rachel and Theo are competing in a 140-year-old country show with deep roots in the local community.
No sign of bulbing at the base, it should be straight. So, lovely collection of vegetables. Quite happy.
First held in 1872, the Keith Country Show keeps up its long-standing traditions. The 2-day event boasts oodles of stalls, tents, entertainment and competitions. It draws in crowds of around 14,000 each year.
We've been doing it for over 20 years now, haven't we? Over 20 years you've been showing?
Each of our chefs is about to face one of the most crucial competitions of their careers, making 2 stuffed mushrooms for the produce category. They're facing Mrs. Pat Shaw. She's a seasoned judge with over 50 years experience, entering hundreds of competitions, and the knives are coming out.
Well, that one's out. It's no right down. I think it's fish, actually, it's in this one.
And our chefs must try and outclass the toughest of Keith's competitors.
The last 2 days have been spent solidly cooking.
It will be a competition cook-off like never before.
Oh, sugar.
I'm stuck to the tip.
Professional cook Rachel Allen is a mum of 3 who's based her best-selling books on her passion for creating simple, tasty recipes for busy people. Her attention to detail helps her stand out from the crowd.
I've got milk, which I'm hoping will give me a bit of an edge flavour-wise over other mushrooms in the category.
Theo Randall's not only earned Michelin star status whilst at the River Cafe, he's opened his own award-winning Italian restaurant.
Wow! It's a messy job, but boy is it worth it.
Later, our dueling duo will whip up their stuffed mushrooms for the Keith Show cook-off. Historically, Keith was a centre for cattle trade. The town then diversified into textiles, and now it's known for its 4 whiskey distilleries. One family who have put their farm to an alternative use is mother and daughter team Linda and Nicola, who run Nicola's Home Bakes. They supply shops all over the northeast of Scotland. Linda first set up the business in the early 1990s in her farmhouse kitchen. Now, with demand so high, they've taken on more staff and ploughed their profits into a state-of-the-art workshop. They make hundreds of homemade cakes and over 50,000 biscuits every week, all using traditional recipes. One of their most popular biscuits is also one of the nation's favourites, the marvellous custard creams. Ooh. yes, here's me tea.
When did you actually start the business?
20 years ago.
20 years ago.
But we started from the farmhouse. So we were using up 4 rooms in the house, and it was a bit. We were going in and out doors and stuff, so it was much use. So we decided
Flour and sugar everywhere.
Everywhere, exactly. And that's beaten up fine.
I suppose it's the custard powder and also all that icing sugar that gives custard creams that lovely crumbliness, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, see, it's the raw mixture I love.
You may not.
I'll lick that.
We spend around £1.4 billion on biscuits each year, with the average household munching their way through 103 packets. Oh.
How many custard creams do you normally make at once?
I fill 17 of these trays all at once.
17 trays.
I'll maybe give you a job.
Oh, I'd be a disaster working for you. I'd just eat all the biscuits all day.
Oh, never.
There you go.
You'd be too busy.
And Linda's piping skills are second to none.
Look at that, the speed. I love it. Can I have a go?
Yes, you can. There you go.
No, I can't do it as fast as you can.
Or as well either.
Excuse me. I don't know if you'll be able to sell mine. I might just have to eat them.
This family-run bakery is at the heart of the community, often trading cakes for ingredients like eggs from local farmers.
And then we just put them on top.
Oh, fabulous. Oh my goodness. Oh,
You like that?
they're delicious.
Yeah, lovely.
Thank you.
Oh, there's nothing like a nibble. And Theo's not one to miss out on sampling the local delicacies.
Smells delicious. Oh my god.
How's that?
That's seriously delicious. It's very sweet.
Yes.
But very moorish.
But that's enough scoffing. Those mushrooms won't stuff themselves, you know. And Rachel and Theo are desperate to not only win a prize card, but also to regain some culinary credibility.
So, Keith is the next show we're going to.
Yeah.
That's in the Moray region, entering the stuffed mushroom competition.
We're in the stuffed mushroom category.
This time the rules are simple. The brief just says 2 stuffed mushrooms, which must be placed on paper plates provided at the show. So as long as they are stuffed and they're on 2 plates, what could go wrong?
I think they're like quite traditional things. I think we're learning, when they say something, they really mean it. I mean, it's absolutely has to be spot on. And they have a certain standard, and if it doesn't fit the criteria they want, then it's out.
The vintage van is our culinary couple's travelling kitchen. Where better to cook al fresco than Britain's best picnic spot? Loch an Uillen, a Gaelic for Loch of the Island, beats most kitchen views. The van's kitted out with the latest equipment, so our chefs should have everything they need to stuff their 2 mushrooms. Last time Theo forgot competition rule number 1, always follow the brief. So this time he's not taking any chances as he's determined to come first.
I'm going to do a very traditional way. I'm going to stuff them and I'm going to use breadcrumbs with some bacon and cheese. And I think, the reason why breadcrumbs and mushrooms are always, it's quite traditional is because they taste really good because the breadcrumbs soak up all the juice of the mushroom. I'm going to try and get this one absolutely spot on.
Spot on? Oh, if Theo wants to win, his dish must be out of this world, as Rachel's tactic is creating an ambitious, cheesy 4-layered stuffed mushroom.
The category simply states 2 stuffed mushrooms, so you really can go to town on it. I'm going to make a mushroom filled with quite a garlicky, nutmeggy little mushroomy filling, and then cover that with cheese sauce and then with cheesy buttered crumbs.
Pity the judges don't give points for effort. First up, Theo's creating his creamy bacon and breadcrumb stuffed mushroom.
So I'm going to cut my 2 stuffed mushrooms. I've got some manchego cheese, a nice sort of creamy cheese, smoked bacon, we've got some onions and thyme and loads of parsley in the breadcrumbs, really sort of garlicky breadcrumbs.
After trimming the stalks, the 2 mushrooms are salted, then placed capside down in oil. Theo chops up the stalks and a sneaky 3rd mushroom.
Half an onion. Not too much a strong flavour onion. I want the mushroom to have its own sort of flavour. If you have too many things like garlic and onions, it's going to be just too overpowering. We're going to add 5 rashers of bacon. We're just going to cut along so you get these lovely sort of matchsticks of bacon. You can use smoked or you can use unsmoked, but smoked gives it that lovely smoky flavour which goes really nicely with mushrooms. Add the bacon to the onions. Just mix them around a bit. And then a little bit of thyme. Thyme is the best herb to go with mushrooms. So, lovely fresh thyme here. I'm cheating by just taking the tops of the leaves off. When the leaves are soft like this, you can use a fair amount of it. When the leaves are very hard, use less.
Theo's hoping his soft time will save him from a hard time with tomorrow's judges.
And it's quite nice to really pack the breadcrumbs in the mushrooms, because the thing about mushrooms is they're pretty much all water. So if you put the breadcrumbs in, when they cook, all that moisture absorb into the breadcrumbs and make the breadcrumbs really tasty. So we're going to get some parsley. So I'm just going to use some curly parsley. It's almost slightly sweeter than flat leaf parsley. And then we're going to add some garlic. Now what I'm going to do with the garlic is I'm actually going to crush the garlic with salt, because I want the garlic to be completely absorbed into the breadcrumbs. So we just chop it up, and then using a bit of salt, just use the salt like an abrasive. So you put the salt on, and then using the tip of the knife, we just pull the knife towards you with the garlic to make this kind of paste. And this is a fantastic thing to do if you're making like a sauce, like a fresh tomato sauce, and the garlic cooks instantly. So you get that full garlic taste without the garlic kind of bits. So nice and smooth. Oh, the sun's coming out, isn't that lovely?
Time to get a tan. Theo mixes the garlic paste into the breadcrumbs with the oil, black pepper and lemon zest.
You want it to be sort of soft to touch and push it down. It should be it's almost like touching a steak. The aroma of the thyme and the garlic and the onions is really sort of coming out. A couple of minutes on this side now. The mushrooms started to really break down. The water's coming out. I'm just going to put them on some paper. A little bit of lemon juice. Lemon and mushroom is really a lovely combination. Okay, so now I'm going to get our manchego cheese. The manchego cheese is Spanish cheese. This is sort of quite a light cheese. It's a sheep's cheese, and it'll kind of go really nicely. It'll sort of melt kind of really sort of slowly with the mushrooms. It won't sort of split too quickly. It's very, very soft, and it's you just want to eat it all the time. It's so good. Really delicious, really sort of sweet.
Save some for the judges, Theo. Theo then piles on what's left of the cheese, around 100 grams.
Make a little mound in the middle. Just push that mushroom, bacon, onion, thyme and garlic really into the mushroom as much as you can. Try not to get any sort of spillage on the outsides, because remember it's going to go in a hot oven, and if you've got too much around the edge it's going to burn. The important thing is that the mushroom tastes good, because the thing about baked mushrooms is, the mushroom can actually be slightly bland if you're not careful. So the fact I've cooked it off and we've got lots of seasoning in there, and the mushroom's been cooked as well, it should have a lovely flavour.
Pre-cooking the mushrooms is a major difference to Rachel's methods, which could give Theo an edge.
It's a messy job, but boy is it worth it.
Theo's going to finish off his mushrooms in the oven tomorrow morning. As dusk nears, it's time for Rachel's mushrooms to get stuffed.
1, 2, 3, 4. Tell me that you love me more. Sleepless, long nights.
In the booklet for the Keith Country Show, it says 2 stuffed mushrooms. I love the way they're always so specific. Not 3, not 1, but 2. So 2 is what I have.
To try and snatch a second victory, Rachel's attempting an ambitious mushroom, breadcrumb and herb filling, topped with a cheesy sauce and a final coating of cheesy buttered crumbs. First on her chopping board list are the mushroom stalks.
There's just as much flavour in the stalks, so I don't want to waste the stalks. There we go. Right. So I'm going to make the filling. I need a very small clove of garlic. I'm going to chop it finely, and then I'm going to crush it.